Good evening, everyone. I'm Vaishnavi Vaiti from Kirin Advisors. Welcome to the virtual roadshow of ATC Energy Systems Limited. Today, we will provide a brief overview of the company. ATC Energy System Limited is a manufacturer and assembler of lithium-ion battery solutions for various industries. Initially focused on the banking sector, the company has expanded its product range to cater industries including banking, electric vehicles, renewable energy, industrial automation, and telecom. It supplies over 250 corporate and retail customers. The company provides design, engineering, and customization services for different applications. The company prioritizes innovation, quality, and customer needs to deliver efficient energy storage solutions. From management team, we have Mr. Sandeep Bajoria, Managing Director.
Good
Good
evening,
evening,
everyone.
Sandeep sir. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone.
From Indorian Financial Services Limited team, we have Mr. Prashant Debar, Senior Vice President. Good evening, sir. Welcome.
Hi, Vaishnavi.
Mr. Derek Sanger.
Yeah, hi Vaishnavi, hi everyone.
Good evening. Yes. So now I hand over to Sandeep sir to give a short intro about the company and its journey. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Good
We
evening,
also have
everyone.
Mr. Soumya, Director. Good evening, Soumya sir, and welcome.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody.
Good
Please
afternoon.
proceed.
Sandeep sir, over to you.
Yes. गुड इवनिंग एवरीवन. मेरा नाम संदीप गंगा भीषण बाजोरिया है और मैं एटीसी एनर्जी सिस्टम लिमिटेड का प्रमोटर मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर हूँ. लिथियम बैटरी में एटीसी एनर्जी की जर्नी करीब 17 से 18 साल पुरानी हो गई है और हम पिछले 5 सालों से इंडिया में इसको मैन्युफैक्चर कर रहे हैं. वसई और नोएडा 2 जगह पे हमारी फैक्ट्री है और 2020 में हमने इसकी शुरुआत की थी. इससे पहले हम लिथियम बैटरी 2007-8 से हम हिंदुस्तान में लेकर आ रहे हैं चाइना से. तो फिनिश प्रोडक्ट लेकर आते थे और यहाँ पे हम उसका डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन करते थे. तो हमारा काम था इंपोर्टर एंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर और हमने ये जो फैक्ट्री की शुरुआत की वो इंपोर्टर और डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर के साथ साथ फिर हमने जो फिनिश प्रोडक्ट ला रहे थे उसको 2020 से हमने यहाँ बनाना शुरू किया है. तो इस तरह से एटीसी एनर्जी सिस्टम लिमिटेड की नींव रखी गई और इसमें लिथियम बैटरी की शुरुआत हुई. हमारे पास रेडी मार्केट था जो इंपोर्ट कर रहे थे, उसी को हमने यहाँ बनाना शुरू किया जिससे हमें कस्टमर ढूंढने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ी. हमने सीधे सीधे जो हमारे पास में एग्जिस्टिंग कस्टमर थे जो कि हमने 13-14 सालों में डेवलप किए थे, उसी कस्टमर को हमने यहाँ पे बैटरी बनाना. तो टेक्नोलॉजी हमारे पास थी, मार्केट भी था, प्रोडक्ट भी था, सब कुछ था. और पिछले 5 सालों के यहाँ पे हिंदुस्तान में जब मैन्युफैक्चरिंग शुरू की तो उस मैन्युफैक्चरिंग में हमने अपने प्रोडक्ट रेंज को टॉय से लेके एनर्जी स्टोरेज सिस्टम तक एक्सपांड कर दिया है, जिसमें हर तरह की एनर्जी स्टोरेज सिस्टम, टॉय की बैटरी, मेडिकल इक्विपमेंट की बैटरी हो गई, सोलार हो गए, इंडस्ट्रियल इक्विपमेंट है, क्लीनिंग इक्विपमेंट, रोबोटिक्स, ऑटो गाइडेड व्हीकल, ड्रोन्स, डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ ड्रोन्स हैं, कैमरा सिस्टम है, आपके यूपीएस इन्वर्टर हो गए, ऑफिस ऑटोमेशन है, स्मार्ट मीटरिंग हो गई. आप नाम लीजिए, जहां भी आपको बैटरी की जरूरत है वो सब सेगमेंट को हम केटर कर रहे हैं. मोबाइल की बैटरी हम नहीं बना रहे हैं और 4 व्हीलर की. उसके अलावा हम एग्रीकल्चर इक्विपमेंट, जहां भी जरूरत, सब तरह के हम इक्विपमेंट, 2 व्हीलर, 3 व्हीलर, हर तरह की बैटरी हम बना रहे हैं. और हमारी 2 फैसिलिटी नोएडा और वसई, दोनों फैसिलिटी एक दूसरे के रिप्लिका है. यहाँ पे हम हर तरह की बैटरी बना सकते हैं, जहाँ पे जैसे रॉ मटेरियल होता है, जैसे कस्टमर की, जो कस्टमर जहाँ नियर बाय होता है उस हिसाब से हम उनको बैटरी बना के दे देते हैं. तो ये एटीसी एनर्जी के बारे में एक समरी है, शॉर्ट ब्रीफ समरी है.
Thank you, Sandeep sir. Now we will start with the company presentation. Over to you, Prashant sir.
Thanks Vaishnavi and thanks Sandeep ji आपकी quick introduction के लिए. So for everyone's benefit from an introduction standpoint, I'm Prashant Debar, the Senior Vice President Equity Capital Markets at Indorian Financial Services. And हम संदीप जी के साथ और उनकी टीम के साथ पिछले काफ़ी सारे महीनों के से काम कर रहे हैं ये आईपीओ के लिए. एंड एक चीज जो जो इमीडिएटली कनेक्ट की हमारे साथ इज द सिंप्लिसिटी ऑफ संदीप जी, both as a human being and as an entrepreneur. What we found very interesting about him is his ability to connect with people, not just within his organization but also on the client side. The template or the approach to business is fairly simple, like Sandeep ji mentioned, is to be a player in the market which can develop lithium-ion batteries of all shapes and sizes, catering to all kind of industries, barring the four-wheeler and mobiles that Sandeep ji talked about. So that's been the thesis of the company, and we found that fairly interesting as we were going through the process. I'll just run through this presentation with a combination of Hindi and English, and I will invite Sandeep ji's insights on certain slides where I'm sure that his views will be good to know for this audience. So quick snapshot, founded in 2020 as a company, currently a team size of across 80 plus people between the two setups, which is in Noida and here in Vasai. The company has done around 8 odd lakh batteries across shapes and sizes, and I will come to those details in just a short while in FY24. Like we mentioned, there are a wide range of industries which Sandeep ji and team has managed to cater to in these past 4.5 years. Wide range of customers, 250 plus, which includes your retail, your private companies, partnership firms, etc. Across the segment. The battery range is an interesting one. So, like I was saying, that right from a 100 watt hour battery to a 2000 plus watt hour battery is the range at which ATC Energies serves. And it has all the requisite certifications that are needed to operate in business. And some fairly decent numbers, both when it comes to your revenues top line for FY24 and the PAT and the EBITDA margins. So all in all, that's the snapshot of the company, and I'll just detail a few things as we move along. Next slide, please, Vaishnavi. So from a journey standpoint, somewhere between September 20 to Jan 21 is when the first setup in Vasai was done. And the initial focus was on smaller, mini and smaller size batteries, primarily for ATM machines, POS machines, etc. So that was the high volume side of the business, and that's where the company focused on in September 20 to Jan 21. Moving into April and July of 21, the company saw the opportunity of not just being in Mumbai or in Vasai here, but also kind of tap into the market which is up north, and hence that's when the Noida factory was kind of set up. That premises was taken on lease, which the company actually procured somewhere in early FY24. Early FY25, somewhere in May of 24. So that was the next kind of a milestone in the company's evolution. The company first time touched a PAT of around 10 crores in March 22. And by March 24, the company started to kind of serve a multitude of industries as opposed to just one when it started off its operations. So that's how the company has kind of evolved over time. Vaishnavi, next slide, please. So from a leadership and a governance standpoint, so Sandeep ji is right at the top as the chairman and managing director with the kind of experience that he talked about in the lithium ion battery space, and he understands this space and sector really well. Interestingly, whenever we speak to Sandeep ji, you just get one more flavor or dimension about the industry which we've not heard about. So we are always intrigued by the awareness that he possesses about this sector. That's a big thumbs up. Along with him, we have Piyush Kedia, who is the executive director and CFO of the company, along with Mr. Nilesh Korea, who is the NED, and Zubair Rahman, who is the whole-time director. So across these four individuals and two more independent directors, Mr. Ashwin Agarwal and Imanchi, they are the torch bearers of the company and look to serve the organization both from a business governance and an infrastructure standpoint. Next slide, please. Yes, so this is the point that I was talking about in the earlier slide. So we've actually in the offer document looked to just bifurcate the battery sizes in four broad categories, just so that the readers find it easier to digest the content. So basically mini, small, medium, large, and they're broken up into various watt hour sizes. So up to 100, 101 to 750 and so on. And also we have given an indicative price range for that particular category. These are broad, wide ranges, but just to help the audience appreciate as to which is the segments that the company is catering into, and what are the typical kind of revenue profiles for each size. So yeah, that's the indication here. Next slide, please, Vaishnavi. Correct. So a wide range of businesses and end-use applications that the company has been serving. So right from the banking space, where the company started off doing POS machines and ATMs. That was the first sector that the company served in FY22, and it still continues to be a big service area for the company. But as time passed by, Sandeep ji realized that there are enough and more avenues where orders were emanating. There were clients which were wanting batteries in various segments, whether it's two-wheelers, three-wheelers, drones, and energy storage solutions, weighing scale, interestingly, and robotics. So the toys is again one segment which Sandeep ji talked about. So there are various applications that have been served already. But obviously that's not the end of it. There are enough and more opportunities which are still coming along the way for Sandeep ji to serve as we move along. Next one, Vaishnavi. So the next one, please. Thank you. On this slide, we've just tried to show as to how ATC Energy has evolved between FY22 and say half year September 24. So if you look at the chart, the pie chart to the extreme right, that's the first year of company's operations, and that was still not a full year. So the idea was that the company was kind of focusing majorly on banking and stationery applications for its main source of revenue. And as we have moved by in FY23, 24, and half year 25, the other avenues or business opportunities have started making a mark. So if you see again in the table below, which is kind of depicted here, something like drones does not exist as a business opportunity for the company for FY22 and 23. And that has made a mark in FY24 and half year 25. Likewise, and it's also seen that even from a Reliance standpoint, the company has kind of looked at avenues outside of banking and stationery applications as time has kind of gone by. Energy storage solutions, again, one other space where we started off small in FY22, 23, but again, saw some good traction coming through in FY24 and FY25. The beauty is that the company at this stage is not really it's not really worried about what sector the demand comes from, so long as the demand comes from some of these sectors. So while the banking and stationery applications will continue to have a higher percentage, but there are enough and more other avenues which are where the demand is cropping up for batteries of all shapes and sizes. So that's what keeps the business mix kind of robust and keep going as we move along. I just want to take a second here to compare with companies without naming them in the listed space, which could be very EV heavy or which could be very solar heavy, etc. So that comes with its own set of pros and cons. But from ATC Energy's perspective and validating Sandeepji's vision, the idea is to be where the customer wants him to be and build kind of demand and cater to the demand as it's happening in various sectors. I would also like to add here that FY24 was the first year where the company had 23-24 is the first year where the company had an export opportunity. So out of the total revenue of around 51 odd crores, around 12% ish had come from exports, where there was an order to Africa, and that turned out to be well. That was for EV vehicles. So while the India market by itself is a very, I mean, it's a one where enough and more opportunities will exist. I'm sure as we move along, the company will look at opportunities outside of India as well to augment and strengthen its work opportunities. Next slide, please, Vaishnavi. So the two facilities, we have a registered office in Andheri East, where the core staff, the admin staff typically sits, and two sets of places of work or factories, one at Vasai and the other at Noida that we talked about. The operations kind of kickstarted in Jan 21 for Vasai, and as far as Noida is concerned, Sandeepji began operations there in July 21 as a rented place, and it was finally acquired by the company. It was purchased by the company in May of 24, April or May of 24. Next one. So here's an interesting thing that from a capacity installed and a capacity utilization standpoint, but what we have again depicted in the offer document is again a range for each of the four broad battery sizes, which is mini, small, medium, and large across both the factories. And the reason for doing that is essentially, like Sandeepji mentioned, both Noida and Vasai are basically replicas of each other. And with the same set of factory premises, with the same set of people, with the same set of equipment, with the same set of infrastructure, the company has the capability of building batteries of any size, depending on how the demand comes in. So that and the demand profile for a particular year can differ each year. I mean, in one year, it could be very heavy on mini and low on medium and large. In some other year, it could be heavy on medium and large and could be low on small or mini. So the capacity will really vary factory to factory basis, the demand which is kind of building up each year. So that's why the range kind of being disclosed in the offer document, and the actual capacity which is kind of made each year. So again, that will give you some idea that if you say, like, for example, FY24, you've made like 8,77,000 batteries, 8,77,000 batteries. Half year September, 7,37,000 batteries. But it again depends on the composition, the rate, the selling price, etc. That will drive the main set of revenues. But these are just numerical representatives of the quantum of batteries which were produced based on each size and based on the various periods. Next one, Vaishnavi. Correct. So, Sandeepji, would you want to just talk about the marketing strategies, the presence, industry forums, customer education, and sales support?
Definitely, yes. About the marketing strategy, हमारी कंपनी 1-to-1 हमारी कंपनी का जो पूरा काम है वो B2B सेगमेंट में है। और B2C सेगमेंट मीन्स हम लिथियम बैटरी या कोई भी बैटरी, वो किसी भी इक्विपमेंट का एक स्पेयर पार्ट ऐसा कंसीडर होता है। तो हमें जो भी किसी भी तरह के जो इक्विपमेंट या प्रोडक्ट बनाते हैं, वो कंपनी हमारे कस्टमर है। और हमारे पास छोटे से छोटे कस्टमर से लेकर बड़े से बड़े कस्टमर तक हम सभी को हैंडल करते हैं। तो हमारी जो सेल्स की टीम है वो कस्टमर से पीआर भी करती है, रिलेशनशिप भी है, मैनेजमेंट का खुद का भी, बिकॉज B2B सेगमेंट में आपको काम करना है। तो सामने जो कंपनी है वो अगर छोटी है या बड़ी है, वो अपने आप में एंटरप्रेन्योर है, सामने वाली कंपनी के जो ओनर हैं। तो आपको उनके साथ अगर इंटरेक्शन करना है तो करना पड़ेगा, उनको भी अच्छा लगता है। नंबर 2 में है, हम एग्जीबिशन करते हैं, शो करते हैं, डिफरेंट डिफरेंट एग्जीबिशन करते हैं, जिसमें हर वर्टिकल के 2025 कैलेंडर ईयर में, अभी तक मार्च चल रहा है, अभी तक हमने करीब 7 to 8 शो में पार्टिसिपेट कर चुके हैं। और अप टू जुलाई हम लोग करीब 15 to 16 शो में पार्टिसिपेट करेंगे। और ये हर अलग अलग इंडस्ट्री के हैं, डिफरेंट लोकेशन है। मुंबई दिल्ली के अलावा हम रायपुर, भोपाल, पटना, चंडीगढ़, पूना, ये सब लोकेशन में या तो हम पहुंचे हैं या अभी एक छोटे से छोटे शहर में भी हमारा कस्टमर के साथ इंटरेक्शन हो रहा है। और ये हम पिछले 2-3 सालों से कर रहे हैं। अब कस्टमर एंगेजमेंट, जो कस्टमर एजुकेशन है, तो कस्टमर की एजुकेशन, कस्टमर इंडस्ट्री नहीं है, तो कस्टमर अपने प्रोडक्ट को लेकर आता है, वो कहता है हम लीड एसिड यूज कर रहे हैं, अब आप इसका सॉल्यूशन बना के दीजिए। तो हमारा स्पेशलाइजेशन ही कस्टमाइजेशन है। कोई भी चीज आप लेकर आइए मेरे पास, आप लैपटॉप लाइए या कोई भी चीज ले आइए, बाइसिकल ले आइए, बच्चों के टॉयज ले आइए, मेडिकल व्हील चेयर, मेडिकल इक्विपमेंट ले आइए, हम आपसे प्रोडक्ट ले लेंगे। अगर आपके पास स्पेक्स नहीं है तो हम आपका प्रोडक्ट हमारी फैक्ट्री में मंगा लेंगे, और हमारी फैक्ट्री में मंगाने के बाद हम उस पर जो भी R&D करना है, जो भी उसमें रिसर्च करना है या XYZ इंजीनियरिंग अप्लाई करनी है, करके हम आपको प्रोडक्ट बना के दे देंगे। ये हमारा कोर यूएसपी है। और कस्टमर को फिर एजुकेशन भी उसी सपोर्ट से मिल जाती है। कस्टमर को पता चल जाता है वो क्या यूज कर रहा है, क्या नहीं कर रहा है, और आगे उसको क्या यूज करना है। अबाउट आफ्टर सेल सपोर्ट, तो आफ्टर सेल सपोर्ट डेफिनेटली उसको देना है। आफ्टर सेल सपोर्ट हमारी लिथियम बैटरी में सिर्फ एक ही है, कोई अगर बैटरी में प्रॉब्लम आई तो आपको कस्टमर के साथ खड़े रहना है, बिकॉज वो इक्विपमेंट से रिलेटेड मैटर है। अगर आप उसको ऑनलाइन सपोर्ट दे सकते हैं, कुछ केसेस में ऑनलाइन सपोर्ट भी जाता है लिथियम बैटरी में, कुछ केसेस में ऑफलाइन सपोर्ट जाता है। ऑफलाइन सपोर्ट में हमारा जो आज तक का 5 साल का है एक्सपीरियंस, उसमें हार्डली लेस देन 1% हमको प्रोडक्ट को फैक्ट्री में मंगा के उसको रीवर्किंग है, उसके डिफरेंट रीजन है। ट्रांजिट लॉस, हमारी भी मिस्टेक हो सकती है, यूजेस में मिस्टेक हो सकती है। तो ये हम कस्टमर सेंट्रिक कंपनी है, हम कस्टमर पे 100% फोकस करते हैं।
Thank you, Sandeep ji. Vaishnavi, next one. So पिछली साइड में हमने देखा that industry forums and participation expos वो एक कंपनी का एक one core माध्यम रहा है whereby they are making the world know about the existence of ATC energies and what all they can do from a capability standpoint. So again संदीप जी, सॉरी, मैं आपको रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा, आप थोड़ी एक्सपोज के बारे में बता पाएंगे, करंट एक्सपोज कैसे चल रहे हैं, आगे एक्सपोज कैसे दिख रहे हैं, आप उस पर थोड़ा कुछ लाइट दे पाएंगे संदीप जी?
सर, एज पर हमारा एक्सपीरियंस, मेरा एक्सपीरियंस एटीसी एनर्जी के साथ जो हमारा एक्सपो का एक्सपीरियंस है वो पिछले 5 सालों का है। ये पिछले 5 सालों में हमने करीब करीब 50 to 60 शोज किए हैं हमने अभी तक। और हमारा शो में जाने का पर्पस ये रहता है कि विजिबिलिटी, जो हमारा अनुभव रहा है शो के अंदर आपको बहुत ज्यादा रिस्पांस नहीं मिलता है, और स्पेशली B2B सेगमेंट में। तो हमारी प्रेजेंस प्योरली एक्सपो के अंदर रहती है कि लोग एटीसी को जाने, अपने रिक्वायरमेंट को आज नहीं 6 महीने बाद लाएं हमारे पास। और एक ही, जैसे आप REI एक्सपो 2024 स्क्रीन पे देख रहे हैं, आप LED एक्सपो 24 देख रहे हैं, तो LED एक्सपो अभी फिर से आने वाला है मई में, तो हम लोग करीब थर्ड एडिशन में करेंगे। आरईआई हमारा फोर्थ एडिशन होगा, राइड एशिया हमारा थर्ड या फोर्थ एडिशन होगा। तो जब मल्टीपल शो में हम रिपीट करते हैं, तो पिछली बार का कस्टमर आकर कहता है, अरे सर आप पिछली बार भी थे, इस बार भी हैं, चलो अच्छा है। या दिल्ली का कस्टमर जब हमको भोपाल में मिलता है, सर मैं आपको दिल्ली में मिला था, बॉम्बे में इस शो में मिला था, अच्छा है आप यहाँ भी आ गए। तो मोर और लेस विजिबिलिटी होते जा रही है, ब्रांडिंग होते जा रही है, और कस्टमर को कॉन्फिडेंस आते जा रहा है कि ये कंपनी हमको एक ही जगह नहीं दिखती है, हर जगह हमको ये दिखती है। तो हमारा एक्सपो को लेकर ये ओवरऑल व्यूज है।
Thank you, Sandeep ji. Vaishnavi, next one. So again, revenue by battery size. So here we have just looked to again depict between say FY22, which was again not a full year because we started operations. And moving into half year 24, as to how what has been the composition of revenue from various battery sizes. So as was evident in FY22, a lion's share of the revenue kind of came from the mini batteries, mainly again for your ATM, POS machines, etc. And as we have moved across time, that portion has kind of gone down to around 69% in half year September, which goes to show that the company is actually dwelling into batteries, is dwelling into catering to battery sizes of different shapes and sizes. And again, like I would like to just repeat that the composition will be a function of how the demand will translate in the future. But it will be an interesting metric to track in the future. But the more important thing will be how the company will shape up from its top line and bottom line standpoint in the future. So yeah, that's on the revenue composition by battery size. Vaishnavi, next one. So while maybe the audience may have some color on the industry scope and the potential, but we just thought to spend some time on the giving you a quick snapshot on the industry. And this comes to us from the independent industry report, which we had curated from Dun and Bradstreet, which is there on the company's website as well as part of the material documents filed with ROC. And a good extract of that is there in the offer document as well. So the snapshot just captures the potential of how the lithium-ion battery demand will kind of is likely to shape up. So the left one is the annual lithium-ion battery demand, which is coming through in India at a gigawatt hour level. And this is not very surprising given the fact that the demand for these lithium-ion batteries has just grown multifold in the years which have gone by, and hence what we see as projections is in line with the buzz which the sector is creating. Next one, please. Vaishnavi. So again, here the market size potential again comes from the independent research report. These estimates surely keep getting revised with passage of time. But the one thing to kind of take note of as an independent reader is what is the trajectory of growth of any particular sector in which you're investing. So again, to the left, you have the market size potential for batteries in US billion dollars across the three time frames, which is 1923 and estimated 2028. And again, it just looks a fairly healthy trajectory, both from an India standpoint to the both from an India standpoint to the right and the global standpoint to the left. The one to the right is the India market size potential again across three time frames, which is 22, 26, and FY and calendar year 2030. Next one, Vaishnavi. So in the offer document, we actually had to choose a couple of a couple of comparatives. So we landed up selecting an Everready and a high energy batteries with an adequate disclosure that obviously the size and scale of these two companies is quite big than our company ATC Energy. Plus their product profile could be fairly different, or yeah, could have different compositions than just lithium ion batteries. But we just wanted to understand two credible peers and give a snapshot of how the performance is, and also to get a sense of how these companies are getting valued and traded. So both say Everready was trading at 2036 when we did the analytics, and High Energy was at 26. So good set of companies for us to have been compared with, but needless to say, they're still bigger in size and the composition is different. So we'll need to kind of measure our company on the backdrop of these two facts. Next one, Vaishnavi. So looking at some of the numbers for ATC Energy, and mind you, September 24 bars, wherever you see in the next slides, is for half year. So a dip is not necessarily how we usually understand that there's a dip in performance or so. So total income, we were at 36 crores for FY22, took a slight blip in 33 as the existing plants were just getting upgraded or taking time to kind of get set up, etc. And where we saw just a marginal dip of around 9% to 33 crores. FY24 was very good, where the demand just built up well. And September, at September, we were at about 22 odd crores. We need to be mindful of the fact that FY25 as a year has been very challenging, but more specifically, the half year of September has been perhaps a little bit more challenging, given the fact that the first maybe 3 months or 4 were impacted by the elections. And this is not just an ATC Energy impacting story, but it's across a wide range of industries where the government orders or layouts, maybe in solar, drone, agriculture, etc., they go slightly slower than what it would have been in a non-election year. But even on the backdrop of that, I think the company did a fairly decent job to clock kind of a total income of around 22 crores. EBITDA and PAT, again, coming most on the PAT side, has been maintaining a fairly healthy margin of around 23-25 odd percent. A slight blip again in FY24 as the raw material prices put some strain onto the profitability, and the COGS, which is the cost of goods sold ratio to revenue, kind of just shot up in FY24. But that seems to have, as of now, it seems to be like a one-off thing. And in half year 25, we've again managed to have good numbers for around 25% on the PAT margin. Next one, please, Vaishnavi. Return ratios at the top, the ROE and the ROCE. Again, pertinent to note that the return number for September, the numerator in both the cases is for 6 months. So they are not exactly comparable. Plus, we are prohibited to give any extrapolated annualized numbers. So maybe the 3 full years gives some indication in terms of how the return ratios have been kind of performing. Even the debt equity has been hovering in that 0.5 kind of a range, and the serviceability is also kind of in that 1.8 to 2 kind of a range across 3 full years. Next one, Vaishnavi. Managed to capture some other quick ratios. Current ratio has been high, and primarily because there is enough and more amount which is stocked in inventories to keep yourself ready for any kind of orders which come along your way. Also, the fact that nearly about 85 to 90% of the raw materials or etc. is imported from China. So the idea is to order it in as much of a bulk as possible so that you can get the real-time delivery of those raw materials. You don't spend up iteratively on your logistics, etc. And to some extent, you kind of take or insulated against raw material price movements. So that's why your current ratio looks a little bit on the higher side. Receivable turnover ratios, again, pretty much in the range of about 6 or 9 for full years. EPS has been across the 3 full years has been in that range of about 5 to 6. And the net asset value per share is kind of building up as the total equity kind of goes higher due to the profitability. So the net asset value per share has been kind of climbing up from 9 to almost onwards till 24 for half year 24, half year 25, sorry. Next one, Vaishnavi. So profitability, just a quick a drill down on the slide or on the snapshot which we saw on the earlier slides. So the total income kind of moved up from around 36 crores from FY22 to around 51 odd crores for FY24 full year, and half year we are at around 22 crores. EBITDA, where FY22, which was some of the earlier years, was around at 41.9 odd, has been in the range of about 30 to 36 more in one of the more recent periods. The PAT margins, which again for FY22 was at 32. Again, formative early years, so not the sustainability had to be kind of established or checked as time moves by, and that was kind of coming through as we moved into FY23, 24, and half year 24. So that's been hovering in that 20, slightly northward of 20% range on the PAT margin side. The one point which I would like to add here is the fact that unlike a lot of our peers, a couple of them who have got listed, Sandeepji's focus is actually not necessarily on high volume, low margin businesses, but it could be on the other side, it is low volume, high margin businesses. So he keeps talking about things like toys and weighing machines and robotics and the likes, which typically give a lot of high margin versus some of the more bulkier high volume products. Also, some of these products do require an element of customization and designing and engineering, etc., which again just helps to build on the margin. So all in all, it just, rather than having run of the mill products which you can produce in bulk, which are say less customized or non-customized and go for lower margins, and you kind of amass a lot of debt to build the top line, the company has been fairly kind of prudent in terms of having its debt book built. So even now, I mean, primarily barring a big loan on property which was acquired in Noida, I mean, the other kind of working capital loans are in check broadly. And the company wants to adopt that policy of trying to take these niche opportunities on products and see how well the customization can play out to build better margins. So that's been Sandeepji's thesis in ATC Energies, and it's played well. It's played out well so far. Next one, Vaishnavi. So on the balance sheet side, again, 40 odd crores on the total equity, having gravitated up to 38 crores as company has progressed or gone well. Borrowings, like I mentioned, it was around 6-ish crores, 6.5 crores for the better part of the time till the company took debt for its property. Short-term borrowings, again, more lately, just to make sure till the time the IPO money kind of typically comes in, there's some bridge kind of a arrangement which is done to make sure that the business is going on well. Capex build up across years. So after having taken the properties with the right set of equipment, etc., the company seems to have most of the things in place to do business well. And as you would be seeing, the inventories, most of the inventories, it's pretty stocked up to make sure that any opportunities which now comes up are well kind of exploited. Pertinent to note here that the company has, I mean, the engagements with some of the known and reputed players in the market in India. I mean, organization of some size and scale and pedigree has been happening, and the one thing which obviously the bigger players want from relatively smaller companies like ATC Energies is, have you ticked the boxes, all the boxes with respect to your internal systems, IT equipment, etc., etc. Do you have it all sorted? And that is also coming through in one of the objects which I'll talk about in a bit, that the company has to or wants to upgrade its IT infrastructure, its physical infrastructure, so that they become a more amenable for getting into contracts with the bigger boys and serve them in the future. It's amply clear that what has got Sandeepji until now from the incorporation of the company will not be the one which will take Sandeepji in the future. There will need to be one step upgrade in terms of all what he is doing, so that he can even serve the bigger boys and the bigger companies in the future. Next one, Vaishnavi. Quickly on the cash flow position. So again, the operating cash flows, etc. For FY for the half year 24, I mean, there has been the financing, the cash flow from financing, which is funded the investing activities, which is primarily for the Noida property that has been acquired. So that's the broad kind of summarization of cash flow, the cash flow positions. Next one, Vaishnavi. On the issue highlights, which are coming from our offer document. So looking to raise around 64 crores, or slightly short of 64 crores at the upper price band. The price band by itself is in the range of 112 to 118, with a 1200 equity share per lot. I mean, each lot is 1200 equity shares. The anchor, as we speak, is the anchor book is kind of getting built, and the issue formally begins or kickstarts on 25th of March, ends 27th of March. And subject to all the regulatory approvals, we should be looking for a listing on the April 2nd. Yeah, the pre-issue holding, which is without encompassing the IPO, the promoter and promoter groups holding as of now is 98.18%. Next one, please, Vaishnavi. So the objects of the issue, I mean, where is this money looking to go? So out of the entire proceeds, around 20% is going as OFS, and around 80% is going as primary into the company. That broadly will be split in 4 major buckets, which are given towards the bottom half of the table. So like I said, there is the Noida property, which was taken on rent, was procured or purchased by the company towards early part of this financial year, and the outstanding loan that will prevail will be about 9.5 odd crores. So that will be paid out. The next 2 items is with respect to the whole physical infrastructure or the IT infrastructure that needs to be built / rebuild to make sure that the upcoming demand is met well. You have the right set of physical and technical IT infrastructure to meet the requirements, qualifying requirement for some of the bigger companies which would want to do business with you in future. And the last one is obviously working capital. So that's one thing where you would always need some money to pump into your ongoing operations. So that's the broad makeup as far as the objects are concerned. Next one, Vaishnavi. Okay, so these are the key guys who's been with the transaction. So BRLM has Indorient, the bankers to the issue have been ICICI Bank. Alacrity Securities comes in as the market maker. The registrar is KFinTech. The bankers of the company, which is Kotak, IndusInd, and ICICI. We and Alacrity are jointly underwriting this. The legal advisors have been Crawford Bailey. Ek Asliwal and company are the stat auditors, and the IRPR is managed by the Kirin Advisors team. Next one, Vaishnavi. So yeah, the future growth strategies and expansion, a few things. So geographical footprint that I talked about, not just in India. The idea will be to see how best we can cater different cities of India which have still not got into the reach or the coverage. Also to see if there is an opportunity existing outside of India in Africa and other countries which can benefit from our service offering. Just relooking at our product portfolio. So we have, like you would have seen thus far, we've started off from catering to one industry to now serving quite a few industries. Is there still scope? Are there any more applications? Are there any more industries where Sandeep ji and team can look to serve with their abilities? That will always be on the watch out as the company grows. And obviously to bring about the requisite efficiencies. Ab tak jo kiya hai, ab tak jo in the 3-4 years have been just to make sure that there is a proof of concept for a company like us. But now with that being in place, you want to bring about the efficiencies in the working of the business with your infrastructure, with the way in which you manage your funds and cash to make sure that it still adds more value to the investors. And obviously to just look at just have a serious look at the profile of the customers and trying to engage with bigger players, better players, etc., and look to kind of be that partner of first choice for bigger companies as ATC looks to expand. So some of these aspects, and I'm sure there'll be few as we move along, but these are some of the aspects which the company would focus on in the future to kind of expand its operations in the years to come. I think that's about it. So thanks very much. I hope we could do justice in giving adding the right sort of color about the company, and yeah, we'll be happy to take any questions.
Thank you so much, Prashant sir and Sandeep sir, for the detailed presentation. We will start with the Q&A session. I request all the participants to post your questions in the comment box. Thank you. We have first question from Yash Mistry. What is our total production capacity of 2 plants and what has been capacity utilization for last 3 years?
Correct. I'll take that up. I'll just take that up. So in terms of the actual capacity, it's out there in the offer document. So the 8 lakh, and also in one of the slides here, we talked about how many units of batteries that we produce. So half year September it was some 7 odd lakh units. FY24 was around 8.7 lakh units and the likes. Now, the interesting piece is that from a total production capacity of the plants, it's slightly difficult to say. It's very difficult for us to say a number. And in fact, the exchange even asked us, "Ke aapka capacity utilization kaisa hai, kitna hai?" That was slightly difficult to quote because, like I mentioned, with the same set of people, with the same set of infrastructure, with the same set of equipments, and the same set of expertise, the company can today produce, say, 100 mini batteries, or it can produce 2 large batteries. All is possible depending on how the demand is, right? So that's why we've actually chosen to give a range, to give a sense to the people that, well, if I do only mini batteries in Vasai, then how much I will be able to produce. Also important to note that when I say it's a mini battery, it is 0 to 100. If it's a small, it is 100 to 750. So even within that, there is a very big range depending on the order which Sandeep ji gets and what is expected to make. So that makes it slightly difficult for us to give. It's not like it's not like a typical hardcore manufacturing setup where even some assumptions you can say that okay, this is the capacity or we are at 20%, 80%, 30%, etc. And that is why we've done our best to give a range of the available capacities and the rate at, or the place at which we are operating.
Next question. Vijay, reason for sudden jump in revenue and profits for HY September 24. Also, trade receivables jumped from 6 to 16 crores. What's the reason for that?
So the sudden jump in revenues, it's pretty much order driven in that sense, right? So in fact, the reason why there is a hike in the debtors or the recoverables as of September is because, like I said, the first 3 to 4 months of the half year F25 was pretty much kind of sluggish due to your elections. Once that kind of was behind us, the orders started kind of being slightly backloaded towards, say, an August or a September, etc. Now, while the orders were getting done and dished out, the recoverability of those happened subsequently in October, November, December, or thereabout. So, as of September, yes, there was a receivable which was kind of standing through. And the sudden jump is, though in we are still at an early stage of our evolution as a company, right? So there can be there will be times when you would see some spurt for a smaller time frame, for a quarter or a 6 months, etc. Because there could be some orders of a particular period which may get kind of spillover for whatever reason. So those are couple of factors why you would see some kind of a spurt in activity, especially you're comparing a smaller year. Once the company publishes the FY25 numbers post listings, you'll be able to appreciate how an FY24 and an FY25 really looks like, both from a top line perspective and also from a bottom line perspective.
Okay, next question please. Samar Dalal. One of the object of the issue is to repay our debt in tune of 10 crores. How much impact can we see on the bottom line?
So, yes, Sandeep, you want to take that or?
आफ्टर पेमेंट ऑफ डेब्ट मैं कुछ बॉटम लाइन में इम्पैक्ट नहीं समझ रहा हूँ. लाइक इनफैक्ट हम लोग सेविंग करेंगे उसके, जो अभी हम बैंक को इंटरेस्ट और रेंट दे रहे हैं तो वो हमारे प्रॉफिट में ऐड होगा.
Correct. That's right.
Okay.
That's all.
Next question. Radhika Madam. Average working capital cycle for the company.
So the
Current-
average. Sorry.
Sir, please, Prashant sir, carry on.
Yeah. So the average working capital cycle for the company is slightly on the higher side, and it's much higher because of the fact that, like I mentioned earlier, there is enough and more amount which is, I wouldn't say stuck in inventories, but it is just kept there to take note of or exploit the opportunities which are coming up from a business standpoint. So that's why the working capital the working capital cycle may appear slightly longer, or the working capital days, which is essentially your inventory debtors minus creditors, that might appear slightly on the higher or slightly on the unconventional side, primarily for this reason. But I think what we feel is that as time goes by, and amongst other things, we want to make sure that once the IPO money really comes in and the climate also improves, we should be able to rationalize the working capital cycle in a much better fashion than what it has been until now.
Okay. Next question, please. Sunil Mishra. The production is largely order-based and the inventory should be much less than 1 year period as stated.
So yes, the production is largely order based, and that's right. The thing is that, I mean, the orders do come from various quarters. I mean, it could be known clients, which Sandeep ji really knows about, or it could be newer opportunities from customers whom you have not dealt with in the past. Now, amongst other things, you don't want to be in a situation where you're actually buying the inventories of raw materials at the time when the orders are typically coming in, especially when you are at the early stage of your business career. So the idea, and also like I mentioned in the past, about 85 to 90% of the raw materials are imported. Correct? It's not local. So with that, the lead time, especially from someone like China, is relatively high. Plus, you need to understand the fact that, I mean, each order will have its own set of logistical costs and the time that is taken to get the things in. So yes, that's the reason why, I mean, over time the company has really made sure that it has stocked enough and more kind of materials to make sure that you're not put in any unusual position. Also, on account of supply side shocks or supply side impact on the raw material prices. But like I said, once we really move along into the future, it is. I would agree to this point that it should be less than 1 year, but I think we will get there as the operational efficiencies start really kicking in. I think we should be able to target to get this to a year or under a year. That'll be the effort.
Next question. Shubham, inventory days and working capital cycles stand nearly 1 year. What are the primary reasons behind the long cycle, and what strategies are in place to optimize working capital management?
Yes, so sorry, it will be a bit of a repetition that inventory has been one point where we would have stocked enough or more than what would seemingly seem necessary, but it's for the reasons that I really talked about. Now, the ways to optimize it would be quite very many, right? So both in terms of relooking at the credit cycles or the credit periods for both the debtors as well as the creditors, that will be one on the cards. Now, again, it will depend on the kind of clients, etc., that you are dealing with. If there is a need for us to give, or for the company to give additional kind of credit periods, etc., to make sure that they're attracted, then might need to do that. But that's more on the debtors and creditors. But on the inventory itself, there will be opportunities to see how best can that be. How best can that be made slightly more judicious in the times to come. So I feel there will be scope to go down on the inventory holding as we move along. But yeah, it's not like it'll happen today, tomorrow. Sandeep, would you want to add anything more on the whole inventory piece?
नो एब्सोल्युटली करेक्ट. जो अभी तक इन्वेंट्री है उसके लिए आपने सही कहा. एंड पोस्ट आईपीओ जो वर्किंग कैपिटल और जो पैसा हम अपने ग्रोथ के लिए और टर्नओवर ग्रोथ के लिए हम जो उसको इन्वेस्ट करेंगे स्टॉक में, उसकी डेफिनेटली उसकी साइकिल एटलीस्ट 4 मंथ से ज्यादा नहीं होनी चाहिए, बिकॉज उसके अंदर आपको मल्टीपल करना है. बट वो सेक्टर पूरा कम मार्जिन वाला सेक्टर होगा, तो उसमें हम साइकिल बढ़ाएंगे इन्वेंट्री की और मार्जिन को गेन करेंगे. दैट्स ऑल.
Okay, next question, please. Hardeep Bedi, what is your current market share in the battery industry and how do you plan to expand it post IPO?
Prashant sir.
Move. Yeah, so I don't think there is. Sandeep, I don't know. Have we done? I mean, an assessment of what is our share in the entire market of an actual number. I don't think we've done an actual number to. A number as a share of ours to the entire industry. But obviously, we're a fairly small player
अभी
in the
तक
in the
अभी
overall.
तक लिथियम बैटरी के कोई भी मार्केट में कोई डेटा अवेलेबल नहीं है, बिकॉज कैसे है, पूरी इंडस्ट्री नहीं है। तो लीड एसिड के रिप्लेसमेंट में हो रहा है और पूरा अनऑर्गेनाइज मार्केट है। जिस जिस जो साइज की हमारी कंपनी है, इस साइज की कंपनी आपको मार्केट में इस टर्नओवर की कुछ ही मिलेंगी। 5-7 कंपनी 50 करोड़ से लेकर 200 करोड़ तक की आपको सिर्फ 5-6 कंपनी मिलेगी जो लिथियम बैटरी प्राइवेट लिमिटेड और लिमिटेड में बना रही है। इसके अलावा सारा मार्केट प्रोप्राइटरशिप पार्टनरशिप में चल रहा है, जिसका कोई डेटा अवेलेबल नहीं है। और जो बड़ी कंपनी है एवरेडी, एमरॉन, ये सब लीड एसिड में है और उनका कितना शेयर लिथियम का आ रहा है ये डेटा हमने नहीं निकाला हुआ है। बट इस वक्त हम ऑटो सेक्टर को छोड़ दें, ऑटो सेक्टर लाइक 2 व्हीलर 3 व्हीलर, तो स्टेशनरी सेक्टर में हम लोग वन ऑफ द इम्पॉर्टेंट एंड मेजर प्लेयर हैं और एवरी ईयर ग्रोथ कर रहे हैं।
And sorry, if I may just add, while how will we expand our market share ki jagah, if I can just add about how you plan to expand itself. So like again discussed in some of the earlier slides, the approach is multi-pronged. That in the past 4 to 5 years, the company has tested itself with various kind of end use applications that it has done and set up its customer base with the number of people that it has. How do you kind of take it to the next level? What will be the company's goals or aspirations? Will be A, that you continue to serve your current end use and product industry profile जो किया है उसको छोड़ना नहीं है obviously, but are there any more end use applications, and there are enough and more coming through, where the company's experience and expertise can be leveraged for those applications? So that's number one. Number two, the export market. Correct. So FY24, yes, there was an export. FY25, there has not been an export for 2 or 3 reasons. One is the fact that it's been this election year, etc. 3-4 months. I mean, you're trying to make sure your boat is steady. It's also an IPO year for Sandeep ji, where there were enough and more activities which were done as part of the IPO process. The regulators also making sure they understand the story, etc. Not just for us, but for SME in general, as you would know. So this is not the year where the export was a matter of focus, but that kind of comes back in 26, FY26 and onwards. So export will be another thing which will look to kind of expand our overall position. And other is the whole the kind of clients and customers. So as we just for the sake of repetition and worthwhile to do so, is that there have been some queries, interactions happening with the real established and big players in the market, really known names in the market, who have wanted to kind of leverage the facilities which Sandeep ji has and tie up. Now those companies, why you are not able to kind of serve them? Because you are still a very small player. The companies need those kind of companies. So say if it's an ABC company, which is a big listed player, now if they want to interact with the smaller companies, you would want certain protocols, certain standards of working, certain infrastructure facilities, tech upgrades, etc., which currently the company may not have adequately to meet those standards. Now, how do you do it? You do it to make sure you do it through infusion of capital, ticking all those boxes, and then allow those people to visit your factories, see for themselves as to what's for available for them to be done at those places, and start serving them. All of these will systematically look to kind of build the top line and the bottom line profile of the company in the years to come.
Next question, please. Ajay Gupta, how does the company plan to expand its presence in the domestic and international markets?
Sandeep, you want to give some thoughts
Same.
or views on that?
Same again, like slowly we are growing by way of marketing, advertisement, taking participation in the expos, and Africa already we started doing. So gradually demand will increase. We are there to fulfill the requirement.
And a lot
Next.
of it, sorry, if I may just add, a lot of it is also through the work which has already happened, the referrals, the word of mouth. Though it's a slightly loose thing that word of mouth se cheezein hoti hain, but that's also happening in a big way. People are wanting to understand how best they can look to leverage Sandeep ji's capacity and expertise for their business, and the international markets. I mean, Africa would be one real big spot where work can happen in a very meaningful way in times to come.
Next question is from Anandi Mittal. What is our customer retention rate?
Almost 98%.
Okay. Next question. Arav Banerjee. How big is our sales and distribution team or our tie-up with dealers?
We don't have dealer network. We have a B2B relationship, business to business relationship. So हम अभी तक डीलर नेटवर्क के थ्रू काम नहीं कर रहे हैं.
Okay. Next question. Bhavin Garg. What are the key risks that could impact ATC's Energy's business growth?
मुझे इस वक्त कोई भी बिजनेस ग्रोथ के लिए कोई की रिस्क नजर नहीं आ रहा है एटीसी एनर्जी से रिलेटेड या पूरी इंडस्ट्री से रिलेटेड.
So
Okay.
sorry,
Next
just to add there, while Sandeep ji talked about the business risks, the overall risks to the company and to the IPO itself are disclosed in the risk factor chapter of the offer document, much like what you will see in any of the offer document. So yeah, pertinent to kind of just glance through those or read through those before an investment decision is kind of made.
Next question. Bharti Agarwal. What is the basis of IPO pricing? How do you think its valuation against industry peers?
So I'll take that up. Thanks for bringing it up. And so while the basis of offer price chapter enlists various financial stroke qualitative factors on the basis of which the valuation is kind of derived. If you do a simple mathematics based on the higher price band and the EPS of FY24, which is the only permissible full year number that we could disclose or it's available, you would see a P ratio of around 19 point something, correct? But it's not a secret that a better part of FY25 is also got completed, and NSC for the very first time actually has more recently started stepping into the role of validating or questioning valuations for SME companies to make sure that they are not being valued abruptly. So from our standpoint, we have actually gone with the guidance of NSE and made sure that the pricing is hovering in that 15 to 16 kind of a range that the exchange has wanted, and stuck with that. When it comes to industry players, though we have called out ever ready and high energy as peers, but it comes with an asterisk mark that they are way too huge in size. They're a little, the product profiling could be different. So it was difficult to find while we were filing the documents to find a like to like kind of a player. Yes, one or two players have got listed more recently, but again, that may not be the best set of bases. But having said that, I mean, for a company of our shape, scale, and size, and considering the regulatory interventions from NSC, we feel that the valuation is fair, at which we're kind of bringing the IPO. And sorry, just
Next
one
question,
more
please.
point to add that anybody on the call or outside will have different bases of valuing the company. So they could take different listed peers, bigger peers, etc. But we need to be mindful of the fact that there will be some discounting that will need to happen on those valuations, considering the fact that the company is a smaller company on an SME exchange. So there is a liquidity discount, there is a size discount, etc., which will need to kind of be given for ATC Energies. But net, after all considerations, we feel that this could be the best and the fair value at which we should bring the company to the market.
Okay. Next question. Devesh Purohit, do we also recycle the used batteries?
No.
Okay. Next question. Shubham, could you please tell us about order book?
I wish we could have. We have the numbers, but unfortunately, it's not there, or sorry, it's not given in the public domain anywhere, and hence, unfortunately, we'll not be able to give that. Yes, this question. This is one of the favorite questions which the exchange asks us before granting the approvals. So we have actually given them the order book position on 2 counts, if I recollect right, along with the names of the clients from which we have those orders. This typically happens when working capital is one of the objects for of the IPO for any of the companies, just to make sure that people are not asking for absurd amount of money as working capital when they don't have an order book. So that's a standard requirement coming from the exchange. We did answer that to their satisfaction. So the order book position is known to the exchange, but because it's not there as part of the public document, I will unfortunately not be able to quote an exact figure.
Next question. Bharti, we import major raw material from China. How do they fare with quality?
We have our own quality team. We have our representative in China, so we take care of all respective measures.
Okay. Next question. Connection. Great live. All the best for future. Wishing you guys best for the IPO.
Thank you so much. There is so much required in general, and especially in these tough markets, where you visibly don't see a lot of IPOs happening. But we just feel good about the fact that if it's a good company, then the timing beyond a point does not matter too much.
Yes, we have covered majority of the questions. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sandeep sir. Thank you, Prashant sir, and thank you, Derek sir.
Everyone.
All
Thank
the
you,
best.
everyone.
For you.
Thank you, everyone, and I look forward to everyone just taking some time out to go through the offer document, just reading through it, learning about the story, learning about the industry, etc., and making your best attempt of exploring an investment opportunity should it meet your investing parameters. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you, Vaishnavi.